What is going on, everybody? Looking for, we got already printed in the description. We have the music intro and then we have the timestamp when the presentation starts. Each and every day, trying to up and improve our game over here. And this is going to be a really, really good session over here. Right now, I know people are probably watching the markets, right? Watching Bitcoin, $56,000, watching the DXY coming off its lows and wondering, hey, wait a second. But we're looking at here the break of the trend line. Price comes down. What happens? We're looking for a retest that level. Anything could happen. It's fine. It's all fine. Let's focus in on what we need to focus in on. And this is so important here as we get started today. What's important to focus in on is what's going to help you see the markets better tomorrow and what's going to help you achieve all your goals. This session here today, as we talk about the best practices for getting started with conquering the markets, is of critical importance. It's going to wind up going to the top of the playlist over here where we have start here. It's going to go above there. This is the most important session for understanding as a year has passed since the training program has launched. We started over a year ago, and when we started, the training program was done on a website that I had built. It was, how do you say, full of really good information, but not presented well at all. Brad, by the way, Brad over here. Listen, Brad joined the group, I would say somewhere around April, right? Brad had zero training experience, none at all. He's a web developer. He took the course and he's like, Jordan, I love what you're doing here. Listen, I just want to build you a website. I want to make it better for everyone, right? I don't want to charge you. I just want to give back to what you've shown me. Now, just remember, Brad is coming from a position here of having zero trading experience. Many of you have been attracted to the markets, possibly even for many years. You have a bunch of experience, which definitely could work for you and also against you, right? Brad was coming in with a clean slate. What I want to show you, because just last week, I had the opportunity, I traveled, I had the opportunity to spend the day with Brad. He took me snowboarding, right? It was awesome. And while we were doing that, he started explaining to me something that he was seeing in the markets. He was explaining to me about this altcoin GRT that has a similar structure to what you see happening in Bitcoin, except that the returns were far greater than you were seeing on Bitcoin. I was listening to him with great joy. Everything that he said to me on that lift, I was able to understand perfectly, and his market understanding perfectly. But then he went ahead earlier in this week and just made a 4-minute video explaining exactly what he was seeing. Now, I could already tell before he showed me the video exactly how on point his analysis was and how he saw the markets, right? But I want to share that with you. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is because I want you to see, it's been almost a year, a little shy of a year, someone starting with zero market experience, how they're able to navigate the markets, right? After a year with conquering the markets. And it's Brad's really the majority of his experience. He does watch as many live streams as he can, as he possibly can, whether it's working out, whether it's watching the little one on the replay or live. By the way, Brad's the one who did this chart work over here on the DXY that we have reverted to so often on the program, right? He did this he had these lines, these trend lines drawn in all the way back, I guess, in the fall. And when we came up over here on one touch, he put in that trend line over there. That's conquering the markets all day long. And then you could see as we broken out over there, right? Retest, resumption. He then modified to show that we were trading sideways. And if you look at what's happening on his chart right now today, we'll revert back to mine later at the end of the show possibly. But you could see after that rejection of the resistance, we're coming back down and we're testing that's range over here. If this has support and comes up, we're targeting much higher. But Brad over here has put together and shown a great understanding of the markets for a while. Let's take a look, by the way, at his presentation over here. And just to show you really quick, if you go from January 1st till today, you could see that this altcoin, and I asked him, well, what's the project? It's all pure speculation, right? Altcoin speculation. And I'm not trying to show you to get you to maybe even take a speculative position in GRT. I am not. That's not at all. But I want you to see his understanding of the market after being with this program. It's of crucial importance. And then from there, we're going to go in and we're going to talk about best practices on how you need to approach this to get the same out of it. All right. So, but by the way, you could see over here, you could see GRT is up almost 500% since January the 1st. I took a look at Bitcoin since January the 1st, and, which is also having a spectacular run over here, but it is up, what's 93, 95%. So you can see by a factor of 5, GRT is outperforming. Let's take a look at the information he put together here, and then we'll keep going.
Also, while I'm here, I thought I'd just cut this quick video as well. To show you what I was telling you about that altcoin GRT that I'm in, and how it's sort of technically trading very similar to Bitcoin. How I'm playing it. Both looking at the perp charts. Basically, this was the launch of GRT, and I believe my position is around here, 35 cents, as this came down and then retested the open and then made a higher high here. So holding really good profitable coin here. But basically, what I wanted to show you is from this period on, how this is building up on this trend line here. And if we look at the correlation, it ties in with this move here from Bitcoin. And if we look at this that happened on the 8th of February, this up move here, and we'll go back to GRT, and we'll see the same move happen, but with a lot more velocity 2 days later. And if we look at the structure again, this is the up move followed by a consolidation. It's really this full move that we could look at, going from here up to the peak, which was a 56% move on Bitcoin. We go to GRT and we look at the same move.
Technical difficulties. I don't know what just happened there, but hold on. We'll be right back on it.
This is the up move followed by a consolidation. It's really this full move that we could look at, going from here up to the peak, which was a 56% move on Bitcoin. We go to GRT and we look at the same move. And we have 185% increase. Now, since the peak on Feb 21st, and we'll look at GRTs, 12th of February, and Bitcoin also, 21st of February, we had a pullback which basically mirrored the same technical structure on GRT, creating a bit of a large bull flag. We've just broken out now on GRT, and also same structure. If we sort of took this and formed it there, we'd nearly have an identical looking large bull flag break out to the upside at nearly the same time. So that's how I'm playing GRT, is that it's we're so dialed in with the Bitcoin,
And then there you go. And that's beautiful. And Brad, thank you for going ahead and putting yourself out there, recording a video like that. Obviously not out there doing that every day as myself, becoming polished or like Heath or anything like that. But listen, it's very important to understand how someone who started with no market experience less than a year ago is now able to see the structure of markets, have the interplay of them, and be able to navigate, I would dare say, better than someone with over a decade of experience in traditional markets for easily. easily. And that's what Conquering the Markets offers. And it's beautiful. And it's absolutely beautiful. I a proud papa over here, right? To take someone, get them interested in the markets with no experience, and then a year later to be able to see the markets with this type of clarity is just absolutely mind-blowing. And that's what we do over here. And I want you to know how you could best go about continuing to do that for yourself, right? So that's what this guide here is today. And right now we're working on this. Brad is working on this over here. And this is going to be, I think, more of a grid format than these big videos over here, right? Jordan is a proud papa, that's for sure. And then you could go ahead and you could select by topic, right? Whether or not you're looking for the best time frame to trade, placing your stop loss, psychology, setting up your charts, whatever and Bitcoin, the section on Bitcoin, you could go ahead and select the rank. Primo content, as it's marked so far, is like the highest, best content. And then extra credit is other clips building on that as well. This is Tom's work that Tom has spent months preparing and doing, organized onto the Conquering the Markets website. And this is just going to help anyone on their journey be able to dig into what they need to focus in on. But there's an order to it. And right now, it starts here, right? When if you're just joining the course, just starting with the course, you need to follow the progression outlined. And it's not watching all of these videos like this, okay? But it is, and it's going to be first watching this video we're recording right now. Best practice so you know how to do that. That's going to be above start here, and that's going to be number one. Maybe I'll even put a numerical order to them. But you have to watch this video, and if you haven't watched this video start here yet, it's absolutely essential. This video is talking about, and by the way, because of Tom's work, they're now outlined over here, right? If you don't understand the foundation you're setting, if you just jump in and you want to know, listen, how do I trade, the euro US dollar? Do I have the right position size? How do I do the entry? You're doing it wrong. You have to build the correct foundation. The way you build the correct foundation is watching these two videos. Start here, and then what is a realistic profits for a Forex for a full-time trader? You have to know what is the goal that you're working towards. You absolutely do. It's critical. This is setting for you the correct mindset in order to help you reach the goals that you're trying to reach. Now, this one over here, things I learned, next goal, consistently profitable. This is going to stay as number 3. It's very, very, very important to watch. I think before you start getting into things like, and all these sessions will be removed from the playlist. Conquering the Markets, live training, all these sessions. And in reviewing this, by the way, I was attracted to this one, psychology. Wait, I want to know more about that. I only got a few minutes into it. I'm doing a lot of organization over here. I haven't had the chance. But all these past videos, by the way, are going to wind up being organized over here. So instead of being, overwhelmed with all this content, you're going to have the first foundational videos that you need to watch before you do anything, right? And then you're going to have these videos over here are searchable for whatever you're working on, what you need to focus in on. This video over here, by the way, the one that's followed number 4, 3 to 5 weeks, break even or better, improvements needed to progress. Yeah, as you're getting started, this is one of the first videos you need to read. You need to watch and review. That will stay up there. I'm not sure about this one. I'll figure it out. But this is moving us forward, right? This is moving us forward, getting to over here, right? After you put in that first few foundation, understand what you're working towards and why, the mindset you need to have. I have this titled under the module, How to Draw Support and Resistance. I'm going to need to rearrange this and change this because I thought this was an important module that everyone, no matter what, was going to watch, right? A lot of people, by the way, they're like, I signed up for the course. I watched all the videos. Okay, I'm done. What's next? I mean, that's when the course is just beginning. That's when the course is really just beginning. Here's where it starts to take place. Thanks, Tom. Tom and Tom, and this is where it just takes place. I have over here, this is how you begin after you've set the tone for what you're looking to achieve, how you're going to do it. This is when you have your watch list set up, you're following, and listen, I know that everyone is attracted to crypto, and I hope that everyone following the channel continues to position themselves well and accordingly. And by the way, I've talked about this going back over a year ago and consistently. The biggest way you could build up a trading account, right, during this bull market phase is by being positioned correctly into Bitcoin. And then at the end of the bull market, you could have gone from a very small trading account now into a sizable account that makes a lot more sense. That would have taken you, by the way, in the past, maybe 5 years to build up or longer. And if you look at this video over here where we talk about, I didn't want this one. Hold on one second. What are realistic profits for a Forex and a full-time trader? If you're taking 5 years off, let me jump right to here. If you're taking 5 years off, starting with a $3,000 account, and all of a sudden you're starting with a $48,000 account, you're reaching this goal infinitely quicker. All right. So by the way, I digress, and I do that often. Over here, you're setting up your watch list of 15, 20 pairs that you're trading. I have on a separate module all the FX pairs that I do watch, right? And now on the 8-hour time frame, right? You're watching every day the 8-hour time frame. You're adding in your support and your resistance, and you begin the journey of learning how the markets work, looking for setups each and every day that you're going to be taking during the London session. If you want to know how to trade the E-minis, if you want to know how to trade the futures markets, if you want to know how to trade Bitcoin or any other altcoin and or gold or silver, focus all of your time here on the FX markets. This is your foundation. It's how I'm able to do it. And there's no skipping like steps. That's not the way to do it. Get yourself positioned accordingly for whatever phase we're in the full year cycle so that you could benefit the most from a core position, and then work on developing your skill. Your skill is to be able to trade any market, looking at the market with clarity. It takes practice. This is where the work is put in. Now, as you continue, right, there's some how do you say, foundational portions of our strategy. You're not risking any more than 0.5% on a trade, right, until you make it to at least 3 months of consistently profitability. And then you'll know whether or not you should be trading a live account. Then you'll know whether or not you're ready to risk 1% per trade. The difference of going from 1% average gain a month to possibly 2.5%, the ultimate goal for this program over here. It talks about, right, connecting Awanda through FX Trade, and this gets you started. This gets you started. From here, what you're doing is you're moving over to the weekly recap. Look at this beautiful example Bat Stonks put out over here, right? This is his weekly review, holding himself accountable, linked to his MyFX book, the 3 trades he took, the results with a short description in them. By the way, if you really want to improve yourself, if you really want to improve on what you're doing here, focus in not only on your weekly recap, but read others. Take a look at their FX book, see what they're doing, look at their trades, and you're going to learn a lot really quickly. This is essential. You need to be doing this. You need to not only this is going to make sure that you're sticking to the risk per trade. This is going to make sure that you were sticking to the at most 3 trades per week. This is going to get you where you need to be in order to reach the goals you need to do. And this is how you have to start the program. This is how you have to go about the program. You can't just jump in and be like, okay, I'm interested in Bitcoin, right? They're not up here yet. They will be. I'm interested in Bitcoin. Where are the Bitcoin videos? Because I want to trade Bitcoin lightly leveraged. So let me focus in on that. That's good, and you should. Letting your winners run, exiting Bitcoin. By the way, Tom, this is not the most updated, well, maybe it is the most updated spreadsheet you've sent me, but I've already started filtering these out. I'm going to be removing all of these normal Conquering the Market trading sessions as they're spliced and uploaded to over here so people could find the exact content they're looking for. Make this a little bit easier. And that's what this is about. It's taking all of this content that we have created, which is overwhelming because there's so much good content. I mean, pick a random video. Just pick a random training session over here. Watch this training session, and your education is this is the goods. Invaluable is a description that I like to place it at, and it is. And a lot of these videos, by the way, the majority of these videos are people asking questions, all questions that you have and or have. Now we're going to make it a little bit easier and better for you to navigate it by going through that. But I would like to get you Brad, 1 year starting at 0, look how he views the markets, right? This is the goal of the program, to get you to be able to see the markets as I see the market, to be able to profit and see. We didn't this morning, by the way. Is the weekly recap is on Discord, Kenneth. That's right. You could just find over here. You could go to Discord and you could go down to weekly recap. Click on the section weekly recap, and that's where you want to post them. We didn't get into FX this morning because it was a strong, let's say, concise session, right? That might be appropriate to do. But right now, as we're going to turn it over to question and answers. If anyone has any questions regarding first the material that we went over today, let's take a look at that. And then if anyone has any questions building on that, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, we could just open it up right now while we're together for any general questions about the market. So yeah, here we go. Sandra is saying, look, is it first following the course and then going to the first thing that you want to do, right, to familiarize yourself with what's going on. Well, I think the first thing you want to do is watch this video. That's going to be number 1 on the Conquering the Market playlist, is to watch this video. The next thing that you want to do is go through the courses, right? You want to you want to start at course number 1, a little bit about my history. You want to go through why Forex, advantages of Forex over other markets, a full overview, everything, of course. And they're not long. What are these, like 15-minute modules? Watching them, by the way, at like 1.5 speed, you could cover it very quickly. A lot of people review this in a very short amount of time, and then they're like, okay, I'm done with the course, right? That's when the course begins. What do you do next? The next thing that you're doing is coming over to the Conquering the Market recommended playlist. By the way, when you click on a video, you'll see the Conquering the Market playlist over here on the right. This video we're doing today is going to be above Start Here, and then Start Here will be the first video that you watch. If you haven't yet watched these videos, these first 3 videos or first 4 videos, that's where you are right now on the program. You need to watch you need to have the correct structure to be able to get the most out of the program, because there's too much good information. There's just entirely too much good information. That's why we have Tom working on organizing it. That's why we have Brad working on making it so that it's easy searchable. And then we're doing this video today to put it together to make it a little bit easier for you to navigate so that you could get to where you want to get and reach your goals. So what else? I'm back down over here. Boom, boom. The spreadsheet is for my use. That spreadsheet is being built up over into, into here. So I'm going through these videos, and if you go to like a random clip over here, you could see that it's, how many different sections, as well as, by the way, if you go through these videos now, you'll start seeing them outlined over here. So where you see like at 10:45, it's next steps, at 9 minutes in, steady, profitable, scaling up, income, focus on a demo account. All of these sections are being implemented and written onto the videos in the description section themselves, just making it a whole lot easier for everyone. So yeah, Cassidy, I mean, look, in the video, my exit plans for Bitcoin, we talked a lot about the gold Bitcoin trade. I've been talking a lot about, for a while, for many months, the gold Bitcoin trade. If you're wondering how to trade that, or the easiest way to trade that, I mean, a quick search, like finding where it's available. It depends on where you're located in the world. It depends on what your local regulation is. I don't get into execution on how at all with people. That's for you to figure it out. The easiest way, is that for you on Kraken, or is that for you finding a Forex broker that has an account based in Bitcoin? And then, if you're looking to sell gold right now, sell gold versus that, or vice versa. As we exit the peak, are you looking for a Forex account based in gold, and you're looking to short Bitcoin? There's many different ways to skin a cat, but it's in a nice position to be figuring out what's your best execution, right? So look into those things over there. Can you show how to read my FX book? I have it, but what do I look at? How do I do separate weeks to check progress? Yeah, we could do a video on that. that could be. I could do a video going over. I will do a video. And by the way, just to answer your question now, if you come back over to here, if you look at this video here, 3 to 5 weeks, break even or better. Let's take a look at it. I Yeah. You'll see how I go through FX book. You'll see what I'm looking at and why. So to answer your question, I would start here on 3 to 5 weeks, break even or better. That's a great, and it's not the only video. There's other videos, probably in this next one over here, the one followed by it, again, going through my FX book, showing how I read it, what you're looking at, what you should be looking at. Watch those 2 videos. Watch those 2 videos. And in the future, that sounds like a really good video. Me going into the Discord, me looking at a few of the weekly Forex, the weekly recaps, and going over them with you, showing you how I look at them and what I'm looking for and where we can improve on. I have a really good one that we did with Danny a few weeks ago. Maybe I'll splice that one in or share that one. But that's great information over there. And that's how you could get started today. And that's something that we could look forward to sharing more about and discussing more. Jordan, how do we best light leverage in Bitcoin? What platform? Again, Andre, the same question as the response over to like, how do I Cassidy's question? That's up to you. It depends on where you live in the world, what your regulations are, what options you have available. For some in the US, that might be using Coinbase Pro, that might be using Kraken, which offers high leverage, up to 5 times leverage, margin trading. Other places have derivative. That's up to you. You gotta. There's so much readily available research on that just takes some time in figuring out what's the best situation for you to do, depending on where you live in the world, which is different for everyone. We focus on the hard part. What's the hard part? The hard part is where we are and where we're going, right? Staying on the right trade. Execution, you just got to spend a little time looking into. How does one lighten up on leverage positions when they're in profit? Into the base token unleveraged, be able to buy a pull. Igor, right? So we did the beautiful session. It was an epic session on trading Bitcoin lightly leveraged that we have over here on the playlist. You could just access it from any video, go down over to here, and then the CTM leveraged Bitcoin session. And that talks about how to trade Bitcoin lightly leverage. If you're asking how to lighten up, let's say that you had, 100 contracts and you want to lighten up, then you're just selling at market contracts and that lightens up the position. Pretty easy. But listen, before taking a position, and look, Bitcoin lightly leveraged is experts only. That session is very clear about that. Experts only. If you're not an expert and you're not ready, that means you should be doing this on a demo. You should be researching and learning and practicing and get yourself up to speed as quick as possible. But to lighten up a position, you're lightening up your position by exiting some of that position. Jordan, would you rather go to a basket of coins to diversify or go all into Bitcoin? I'm all into Bitcoin. Yeah, no question about it. For Bitcoin lightly leveraged outperforms anything, in my opinion, with the least amount of risk and the greatest potential reward. Listen, there are some that really enjoy altcoins for many different reasons. Look at Brad. I encourage what Brad's doing over here on GRT, and I did when he told me about it. I think it's absolutely amazing. And Brad understands, and I know Brad is positioned correctly into Bitcoin. And then, with a portion of his portfolio, if he's using it to speculate, and that portion that he's speculating with is becoming more and more of his portfolio as it grows in value, that's all good. And there are many people with a huge passion and interest for what's taking place in the cryptocurrency markets. And that's innovation. And that's absolutely amazing. And I think that if that is your passion, that you should be spending a lot of time learning about everything that's taking place in the space. It's awesome. It helps your mind grow. It's super creative. And I'm all about that. And if you could profit from that as well, that's all good and great. Is what Brad's saying makes sense, that you could see that the moves that are taking place or 5x that are taking place in Bitcoin could potentially, trading something like this lightly leveraged, lead to greater returns than Bitcoin. Yeah, understand the risk and know what your risks are. I prefer Bitcoin and only Bitcoin. So what else are we looking at? Yeah, Timothy, how does the sound lightening up leverage positions when they're in profit into the base token unleveraged to be able to buy all the, I don't know. I'm not following that. Lightening up leveraged positions when they're in profit into the base token unleveraged to be able to buy pullback. Yeah. So you're saying, are you like, if you're into a lightly leveraged position and, as that's making legs up, then going ahead and adding more more Bitcoin to that account. That way, as you pull back in, you're able to add more. That's definitely a creative way and very viable. That makes a lot of sense. And other people, they might be geared towards more 3 ways to trade Bitcoin in the bull market phase. Strategy number 3, the most aggressive, right? Starting at 150% off that low, start lightening up on their position. And then during the pullback, that's when they look to increase. So you could achieve what you're looking to achieve without adding more Bitcoin or whatever the token may be. And they both work. That both work very good. Jordan, why are leverage tokens so bad to hold? I warned that do not hold any leverage tokens on Binance for whatever reason that they are not good or bad to hold. Like even if the positions go, if you're using a leverage token, it has to be going in your favor in order to be profitable, right? It just doesn't make sense to fool with it. That's all I could tell you. It doesn't even matter why. But there's a lot you could do. Some research, some looking around. I looked into it a long time ago, and I know it's bad. I don't want to be involved with it, right? So there you go. But it's because of it's kind of like an option. It has time decay into it. So that position, if it's like going sideways and you're trading a futures or derivative or a margin, that trade is not eating away at you. And if you're trading on a leverage token on Binance, it is. Again, the why you could research more, but take my word for it. Jordan, I know you preach the 8-hour chart. I understand why. It cancels out a lot of noise. It's the most profitable. What about the 3-day chart on Forex? Yes, maybe, could be. I don't know. Jay, absolutely. What I would say to you, Jay, is this though. Everything that we discussed, or the question Jay's asking is, listen, what about trading the 3-day time frame on Forex? Right? Whether you're looking at the pound US dollar, like there's an entry right there, or if you're looking at the pound Japanese yen, 2 trades we've been hyper focused into this year, almost reaching my target, by the way, right? That unfolded rather quickly. Everyone thought I was crazy when we were down here at the beginning of the year, and I'm like, look, I'm targeting up here. So listen, is the 3-day maybe something that you want to focus in on? And I would have to say this, Jay, I've traded the 8-hour for over 15 years, right? I've never traded FX on the 3-day time frame. I know that a market's a market and the time frame is a time, doesn't, I would gather to say not only yes, it's probably filters out a lot of noise on the 8-hour as well, right? I would say if your time preference is a little bit lower, this is something really good to work at. But before you do that, Jay, what I would suggest is making sure you work the program as outlined in the program on the 8-hour time frame and at least put up 3 months in a row of a 1% gain or better. I think at that point, you have what it takes to go ahead and discern whether or not you want to start following and exploring and doing the same exact thing on the 3-day time frame. I would definitely support that. I think you would be very successful. Very successful. What about just buying physical gold? Yeah, Jason, at the top of the Bitcoin bull market, I will be buying physical gold. I will just be buying unleveraged physical gold, which, by the way, is a lot more private than Bitcoin. Understand the laws of where you live and why. So think about that. But yes, I will be buying physical gold. Are you going to buy Pax gold? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. When trading FX, you trade the London and New York time frame. The London overlap with New York is included, so all of London. Does that mean you're awake and watching the whole London market? Never. I'm always sleeping, Joe. It's a beautiful thing. Why the majority of trades are taking place, not only trades, but the moves on those trades, I'm sleeping. The only thing that keeps me up at night is a sick kid or anything like that, but I'm sleeping. And the way that you do that, Joe, and this deserves, I believe, it's something we've talked about so much and so often, but where those conversations have taken place, I guess Tom would know better than myself as you look through all of these clips over here. But we've talked about the way that you do that is by before going to bed. The Asian session, the one that's completely avoided altogether, has the lowest amount of volume, the lowest amount of movement. If I'm looking, just to keep this really simple and easy, if I'm looking to buy, right? Let's say I'm in an uptrend, I'm looking to buy, and then we have a pullback in that uptrend into support. Here, it just took place right now. We were watching this one on the pound US dollars that came into the support, right? We were watching that entry off the support over here. What do you do? Like, let's say, for example, this red bar is happening in Asia. It's a down price bar into support, right? I set a limit order, right over there on MetaTrader. That's a buy stop. On Oanda, that's just a buy limit order over there at what the entry price would be at the high of the Asian bar. And if overnight it triggers, right? Then I wake up and the trade triggered and I'm in the trade. I know I place the stop loss in where the stop loss would be, and I go ahead, and if it triggers, great. If it didn't, before New York opens, I could adjust, if possible, the entry of that trade. Maybe that the New York bar came in, the London bar came in a little bit lower. So now the entry is moved to the top of the 8-hour bar of London session. And if that triggers in New York while London's still open, I get myself into the trade. But you want to do that before going to bed, not waking up to trade London. You want to go ahead and set those orders in. If you live in Australia, if you live in Europe, yeah, then you're awake and you could set the orders accordingly like that. But even if you're in California, Hawaii might be difficult. Hawaii might be very difficult. I don't know how that works. I've never traded from Hawaii, but even in California, you could go ahead and set these orders before the London markets opens, and that's how you do it. So that might be a little bit of a clip that's worth us sharing with everyone, maybe right now. Jordan, is selling Bitcoin then positioning the backs gold a block fight? Yeah, of course it is, Wes. That's a beautiful. If you want to position into gold, right? Selling Bitcoin into Pax Gold, taxable event, you know that, no problem, right? And then holding Pax Gold and collecting interest, that's a good option that I'm sure a lot of people will take advantage of, right? You don't need to. By the way, there are many, let's say, reputable physical gold exchanges, brokers throughout the world that do accept Bitcoin. And that's also, if you want to hold some gold in a vault in Singapore, that's a viable option as well. Or Pax Gold, different options, right? So what else are we looking at? Jordan, I'm holding Bitcoin long term and using something like Pax GBTC to hedge bear market downside. Last week of February is a perfect hedge. Oh, you're doing that during the bear market. So that's a little bit tricky. Scott, that's a little bit more, I would say, advanced. If you're talking about, had 3 ways to trade the bull market, strategy 1, 2, 3, that's closer to 3. Listen, that's all I'm going to say about that. That's a little bit advanced. The risk is going to be to the upside. You could get caught. I think it's easier, in my opinion, when you have the 30% pullback on Bitcoin, right? You don't know when it's going to happen. Like if we're coming to 70,000, we don't know when it's going to happen. But right now, as we break to price discovery, the risk is to the upside until that 30% drawdown happens, right? Or you get closer to that maybe 70, 80,000. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we get there. I don't want to lock myself into something. I kind of want to be open so I could be fluid and follow the market. But what I'm getting at is when you have those pullbacks, at that point, that's a place that you might want to take a position short gold versus Bitcoin. It's a little bit easy. There's that last 30% pullback. You can see gold came up against gold. Here's the one before that. I think that's a little bit easier. I think it's a little bit tricky what you're doing. I'm going to call that highly advanced. Be careful that you don't get caught up being hedged as Bitcoin goes into price discovery. I'm somewhat unsure about taking profits. Do I let runners run? Right. Ed, this is the epic session over here that you have to watch. Hold on 1 second with me. It's right over here, letting your winners run. Go to the bottom of the playlist. Go all the way to the bottom. Then go to letting your winners run. You have to watch this session. And then this one is not yet, how do you say, it's not yet itemized. There's no titles put in there yet. But in this video, I believe in this video also, I then talk about that trade. Is that right? The Australian dollar US dollar trade, and it's like a follow up onto it. You have to watch those two videos together. I have to do a I have to title that second video as part 2 to letting your winners run, at least with that section, so that they could be watched in unison, and then you will have the answer to that question as articulated as best as possible. Right? Good question. Jordan, to achieve consistent profit, is it good to sell at resistance and rebuy lower? Yassine, again, the greatest way to answer that question is going to be going back to letting your winners run, and then the second phase of it. The reason I say that, because in that video, when we talk about the Australian dollar, US dollar, before the trade happened, and I talked about the places this is when I started talking about it. I talked about taking 40% off in here and why. And then when we review the trade, you're going to, oh, it was in the masterclass. You have to watch this video. Forex Masterclass Advanced Intermediate. That is part 2 to letting your winners run. Watch this video. That answers both of the questions of whether or not you should sell at resistance and rebuy lower. And it's also answering, Ed, your question. Those two videos together, let your winners run, and then the Forex class Advanced Intermediate, epic. Watch those videos and it will answer both of those questions exceedingly well. And that's great that we're covering that right now in this video about best practices to thrive in conquering the markets. Jordan, on the Bitcoin halving tracker, there are two pullbacks on the 2016 chart. Are we aligned with lower lows on one of them? Look, I need to pull up the chart really quick. This is the way. This is the way. This is the way. Gene, over here. So in 2016, we had two pullbacks. Are you talking about these two pullbacks? This being one and this being the second? I don't know. We're just coming off of two pullbacks. And if you remember, before the second pullback, as we were coming out of that first pullback, this is why the live stream was so. As we were coming out of this pullback over here, I kept saying, hey, watch out for a double pullback. It happened before in past. Now we went a little bit higher than I would call this, like being within that realm of call of looking out for that second pullback, but time-wise not. It did happen, not exactly as pretty as I wanted it to happen. Do I think that we're, as we move into price discovery, that we're immediately looking for another pullback? I'm not. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that'll reflect more of this phase and more of this phase over here. I think we shoot up from here, once we get into price discovery. That's my feelings. Obviously, I'll be dialed in and we'll follow it. Right? It's the markets. Anything could happen. Should we use leverage tokens? Never. Never, ever, ever. I've seen where people have lost all of their Bitcoin by forgetting their password in trading Bitcoin US dollar, owning Bitcoin, or safer as far. I don't know. I can't imagine losing Bitcoin because you lost your password in 2021. You got to be responsible. Otherwise, don't do it. Should you trade on a broker then? Should you be like on BlockFi, where you have like a centralized party that could go ahead and help you with your username and password and still has really good security? It sounds like it. It sounds like until you're ready to secure your own future, that you're better off than, maybe using something like BlockFi, which, I don't know, something to think through. Maybe to discuss under security in the Discord group. If you were to ask that question and for some feedback and get some thoughts going, that might be a good thing to do, Lucky, to go over to the Discord and the security section or Bitcoin section. Jordan, 90% of trades that I take, I find myself asking the same question. When the price resumes up or down, do you take the entry as present itself? I'm not sure what you're saying here, Garcia. 90% of the trades I take, I find myself wondering if the price resumes up or down, do you take the entry as soon? Look, keep it really simple. Start off of this, like in an uptrend, you're buying off support, strong support. Go to the daily time frame, right? On the daily time frame, draw in support and resistance. If you need to use the weekly time frame, go to the weekly time frame, draw in strong support and resistance, then go to the 8-hour. As you move into support or resistance, obviously we looked at this example early in the week. Here was the pound US dollar, pull back into support, resuming off the support. That's when you buy. You know, just keep it simple. That's what you need, by the way. And this is if you go into Discord group, if you go into CTM mechanical, you know, this is what you need to achieve that first goal. And the first goal is not only getting to break even or better, that first goal is really getting yourself to 3 months of consistently profitable. So, second question, at this point, the true trend is not suggesting any entry. Therefore, do you wait for the price to become more attractive? True trend entry. There's also a beautiful video, by the way, it's titled with the true trend over here. It talks about the first pullback. Right over here, CTM training session, first pullback entries. Garcia, you watch this video over here, and this one won't be removed. This one belongs in over here. First pullback entries are for those kind of struggling to get themselves in a position where they're starting to get into trades where they're managing them into profit, right? This is where you want to focus in on. I don't use the true trend on a day-to-day basis. You could see that I always have it removed. And I think that you should be trading the markets without it. I do think the true trend is a great tool if you're struggling, but don't rely on the true trend. Rely on price alone. In an uptrend, buy off support. In a downtrend, sell off resistance. You can see that this is just like boom all day long. Once we realized we were breaking down over here, it's been sell the resistance, right? So there you go. Jordan, seeing how Bitcoin made a second pullback shortly after the first 30% pullback, it wasn't a 30% correction. Are you looking for? Yeah, this is a great question, Jay. And to answer your question, which I just covered probably since you asked it, talking about the double pullback, talking about how I think we're going higher, talking about how I think it might resemble something like this sharp move over here, this sharp move over here, right? And I hope that's what we're headed for. Some steep vertical moves over here right now. And if that does occur, what are we looking for? The 100? I don't know what happens next. It's starting since a few days ago or late last week or on Monday. I've been saying it's not often you hear me say, I don't know what's next. I don't know what resistance we're going to be looking at, whether it's $70,000, $80,000 or whatever it is. As we get there, I'll let the market show me and I'll be watching for it, but I'm not going into there with any preconceived notion, right? As we get ready to, once we break out over here, I'm an open book. Show me. I'm going to follow your lead. I'm not trying to say, or in the past, I've been pretty accurate about putting out a level and then, it's done pretty good job. I don't have a level. I don't know, right now I still have 150 off of this one over here, but I'm not looking at $70,000 necessarily for that pullback. I'll be watching price action. All right. And I think that's the best way to be approaching the market in this current moment. And a lot of people want to make the market a little bit like rule-based and black and white. So that, okay, X happens, Y equals Z. It's not like that. The market is fluid. It's a living organism, just pricing in massive amount of information taking place worldwide each and every day. And at this moment, it calls for having that really open posture. So that's the way we're approaching it. I did strategy number 3, altcoins that outperform Bitcoin. I trade them based on Bitcoin behavior, and that's what profit I use to strategy. Boom. Man, it sounds like you're crushing it. It really does. That's beautiful. That makes me so happy and so proud that you're able to take what we do here and then go ahead and execute it on a level like that. That just makes me like beaming with happiness and joy, conquering the markets all day long. Pax Gold, from my understanding, is a very good like paper gold contracts. Future contracts are not physical gold. They reflect the price of physical gold. In my opinion, that's what Pax Gold is. The same thing. It's reflecting as best as possible the price of physical gold. But if you go down the rabbit hole of understanding money, there's no replacing physical gold. The paper is not physical. Jordan, if you have the end game for a trade like Bitcoin US dollar, then why does waiting for a CTM entry matter? Why risk making it? So I've never talked about really entering Bitcoin using conquering the markets. There are a couple of times throughout this journey that we've entered conquering the market trades, right? There was a particular trade. I don't remember exactly where it is. It was, I think, right around here, right? Or it was over here maybe, where I was like, all right, I'm targeting at this point. I think it was like whatever. And it was like 40% of the trade comes off. You could go back to the video. And then, you just continue holding the rest of the trade, which is still open. And that one trade, if you remember that, if you were here, just be like, I was there. That's what we were talking about on the live streams for like a week or two, right? If you just took that one trade and it's the only trade you ever took, it's better trade than, I would say, the vast majority of people who ever traded the markets have ever made in their lifetime, right? And that's just the simple truth. But listen, I've always been consistent with saying, depending on where we were at, not when we were into 40,000, right? Listen, right now the risk is to the upside. I would, and I remember I would say over and over again, it doesn't matter if Bitcoin is trading right now at 10,000. It doesn't matter if it's trading at 13,000 or 9,000. I would just buy Bitcoin. The risk is to the upside over here. We're looking at talking about significantly higher prices. Now that we're seeing significantly higher prices, everyone's like, oh yeah, I understand what he's talking about, right? But back then, people were like, oh, we're going back down and testing 4,800, right? Tone Vays, we're going back to 1,000, whatever the case may be. There were people out there that were very confused. And I've always been like, in a bull market, buy a market. In a bear market, dollar cost average. It's just the way it is. Now, as we come up towards $70,000, $80,000, I'm not going to think that's the best strategy. At that point, the best strategy is going to be waiting for that 30% pullback, right? So it depends on where you are at the current impulse. But yeah, you understand, Michael. Buy stop inside of Wanda. Thanks for clarifying that, Heath. Appreciate it, brother. Just like on MetaTrader then. Just like on MetaTrader. Yeah, Kenneth, we do. It's over here and it's titled Weekly Recap. On the weekly recap is when you're posting your weekly recap as outlined on this module over here. How to draw support and resistance. This needs to be modified. I'm going to modify it. Brad is showing me how to add lessons so I can make a section on Bitcoin. And that section on Bitcoin is going to include the videos that we have over here, whether it's like the parabolic move to blow off top going vertical, the one special date this summer on Bitcoin. I mean, if you haven't watched this one, watch this video. The 3 ways to trade the bear market, exiting Bitcoin, CTM leverage Bitcoin. Those all deserve their own section. We're going to get that done for sure. What else? Yeah, and Tom in Seattle, man, this is great for taking up also inside the threads, right, on Discord. You guys could jump in to cryptocurrencies. That's a great thread. Even if you could copy and paste your comment that you shared here today, man, right over here, boom, and start the thread off with that and open up a discussion. That's awesome. Working together collectively. In my Bitcoin trade, I feel bad taking profits in a bull run, right? Strategy number 1, probably the best for the majority of the people, not taking profits, just holding. Strategy number 2, better, accumulating more on the 30% pullbacks, but never taking profit. Yassine, strategy number 3, the most advanced one, is for the least amount of people taking profits in that bull run. And I agree, you shouldn't. You should focus either on strategy number 1, making sure that you take this moment in time and take full advantage of it. The worst thing that could happen in the bull market is that you didn't achieve and meet your goals. Strategy number 2, I think you could be comfortable with that. Just make sure you do the research, you have the understanding. In the price, you've been the Yoda of price action. Thank you, Jay. It's true. It really is, but thank you. Anyone know if you can place buy limit orders in Binance? You could place limit orders in Binance. Again, it just might be, anyway, just with like an insignificant, become familiar with whatever platform you're trading. Place an order size that's insignificant in order for you to understand. So many factors to consider in the cycle compared to the last 2. Beautiful. Are you surprised how Ethereum doesn't seem to get any room to run with Bitcoin? No. Not even close at all, right? Ethereum is still trading at 1,800, trading beautiful this bull cycle. It was at the beginning of January. It put an explosive move over here and has since been consolidating, getting room for further room to run. Bitcoin generally does the hard work for everything, and then everything else plays catch up at a greater speed. There will come a time, I think, in these next several months, you know, either Bitcoin or Ethereum will be outperforming the other. And then before we get to that last beautiful parabolic phase, maybe they'll be like caught up and they both have the same amount of performance in before, maybe Bitcoin's destroying Ethereum and then Ethereum runs hard against Bitcoin. Nothing, it's not surprising me. It's actually playing right according to schedule and plan. That was the best. Yeah, Timothy was on it. Yeah, and it was the best trade you ever had, and it was beautiful, and that was conquering the markets all day long. But we didn't force anything. But that's what the market was giving us, and that's why we spend every day together. Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. Jordan, thanks so much for your willingness to help. Are we seeing a conquering the markets on the 8 hour? For what, Dave? What instrument are you talking about? I'm not really sure. So much to learn, and it's all here, and it costs next to nothing. It's unbelievable. But I have to tell you, it's a joy and it's a passion to share what we share together. It is absolute heartwarming to see the things that you saw Dave's comment earlier in the session, talking about how he's now able to take care of his family on a whole different magnitude. And that at the end of this Bitcoin, at the end of this one, not 4 years from now, he should be in a position to be able to do amazing and wonderful things helping other people. Can you imagine the reach that we have as a community together and the things that we will achieve? It's absolutely beautiful. Heath has been there from the very beginning. Heath, you've been here from the very, very, very beginning. I loved, by the way, it was a few weeks ago when we were seeing the markets come under pressure, the equity markets come under pressure. And Heath was like, all right, well, I'm not seeing any risk off move into FX. FX is so important for understanding where the markets are. I don't see any move into the Swiss franc or Japanese yen. All right, I'm not really going to pay too much attention to this right now, right? Loved it, love it, love it. Here we go. Do you remember when I said it was a matter of time, in my opinion? Seeing the S&P back towards new all-time highs. NASDAQ has a lot to play off. That was a steep pullback. The move up could be just as steep. We'll continue to wait and monitor it. I think I missed some videos during the course. Where can I find the explanation on taking a trade? How to open 2 or 3 positions or taking profits on each of them. Pepe, so a couple of things. Let me pull up the course module over here. I don't know why this is a Safari browser. It's not letting me scroll on the left. Does anyone else have problems with that scrolling down on the menu over here? I can't scroll over here. I think I could go back to the over here though to show you the easiest. I could go back to the curriculum. And if you look over here and you go to where it says position size and risk per trade, it's going to tell you if you're trading with the handicap of MetaTrader 4. And there's a good reason why I was talking about trading with that handicap. It gave you at the time, even if you were located in the US, the ability using a broker like FX Choice to trade your FX account with an account based in Bitcoin. A lot of people may not have understood it back then. Everyone does now, right? And listen, it's worth trading with a handicap to do that, I felt. And with MetaTrader 4, you're not able to take profits at will whenever you want. You have to, going into the trade, understand where your take profit level positions are going to be, and you have to enter the trade in multiple orders to be able to take profits. You don't have to do that with Oanda. Oanda is the recommended setup. It is the easiest way to figure out your position size, the quickest way to figure out your position size. Once you're into a position, you don't have to set multiple orders. You could only set one order, and then you could just exit whenever you feel like it in pieces. All right, so that's what you want to do. Awesome. Jordan, I sent you an email including the analysis of the pie indicator for the next few weeks. It'd be great if you could review. Listen, I'm not interested or focused on the pie indicator at all. Yesterday in the live stream, I addressed it as well as late last week as well. I'm not interested in the pie cycle. If you guys see me interested in the pie cycle, there'll be a good reason I'm interested in it. That's what we follow in the flow. But and this is just the way it is. I'm genuinely not looking for others to show me what I should focus in on, right? And there's a lot of people focused on GPTC and the premium. look, I'm not interested. I'm always like, what for me, Jordan, is noise. What do I need to focus in on? And I can't do that just being like a leaf in the wind, focusing in on a lot of different things. I'm not interested in the pi cycle. If at any time I become interested in the pi cycle, you're going to see me talking about it. You're going to see me focusing on it. It'll be what we do together in the morning because there'll be a reason for it. Okay. Someone, like basically yelled at me, which I showed you. They're like, Jordan, at $56,000, we see a Pike side cross. Whatever. That's on the, sorry, this should be on the daily time frame. They did say April 15th. They're not saying today, as price is trading at 56,500, we have the cross. I'm not going to do the math to find out if we have a cross there or not. I only watch price. And there's no reason at this particular moment for me to be consulting. Maybe 3 weeks from now, if price is trading at $100,000, we're going to get a pi cycle cross, and I will be exiting because I think we have a double wave. At that point, I'll figure it out, but I don't need to that's it. So, and that's all said with a lot of love, Garcia. It just needs to be said because that's what it is. Jordan, at the market top, when it's time to sell, why do we not sell stop order instead of market sell? Yeah, you could do that. Johnny, you could be coming into the top of the market and you could just have your sell at the low of the previous price bar or 2 days away. Whatever you might want to do, you could do that. Why would I be exiting at market? I don't know how I'm exiting, but whether it's a stop loss like that or if it's going to be just like at market. But the only reason I'm exiting is because I know it's the time to exit, and I'm not going to be watching price like, oh, price just went up $20,000 since I exited, which it will be doing, or dropping $20,000 in a heartbeat as we get to those type of levels. But there we go. Boom, boom, boom. Jordan, Miguel. Is BlockFi alone with Bitcoin collateral paid in Bitcoin or stablecoin? You could pay it back in either stablecoin or Bitcoin. Boom, 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 boom. Placing FX trades during the evening central time zones. How do you avoid executions overnight? It happens occasionally, but if you're in Asia time frame and you're setting, a buy limit order coming off a down price bar and you're setting the buy limit over here, the odds are in central time it's not going to trigger. It's a very low probability that triggers. And if it does trigger ahead of the Asian Open, then you probably want to be in the trade anyway. So don't worry about it. You got to be flexible as a trader. You have to be able to adapt to any and all situations. And, at the same time, you just got to be flexible. You can't be rigid. So that's that. If you're buying, look for down price bars to trigger off of. And if you're selling, look for up price bars. So you need that reversal during London. Now, that's not the only way you could enter those trades. If you have an up price bar in Asia, that does not mean you cannot take a long on a higher high during London. Those trades just happen to be infrequent compared to the other ones. Bitcoin, are we looking at so Bitcoin 8 hour, by the way, right? So listen, Bitcoin 8 hour, in my opinion, this was what we were keying off of. This was the 8 hour, the breakout, the retest, the resumption. That's conquering the markets all day long. This is not, right? That's not buying into resistance, by the way. I would not be looking to take a buy over here. And then we looked up and we set up over here. This was over the weekend on the 2 hour time frame. This was, where did I, over here? I put this in over here. This is my tweet. I put it in that trend line for y'all. And I showed you as we were coming into, price was right over here. And I put that in. That was like an aggressive entry into the resistance. Or maybe it was over here. I don't remember. You just go on the Twitter onto Saturday to see that exact tweet. But no, on the 8 hour right now, I think you're chasing price. I wouldn't do it off of conquering the markets. If you're buying now and you're saying I'm ready for a 30% plus drawdown at any particular time, and I believe that we're going to be trading up, higher, call it 1 or 3 months from now. Okay. That's what we talked about earlier in this episode about like, if you're buying Bitcoin, understanding where you are in the cycle, do you need to wait for a conquering the markets entry? And we answered that back then over there, right? So, but I hope that's clear. You want to be preemptive. Breakout, retest, resumption. This is conquering the markets all day long. This is just a pullback and then a resumption up into resistance. I wouldn't buy conquering the markets into resistance. Thank you, Kenneth. Good session. Now, Jay, the trading sessions we have weekly, and they could be on any day. And this one was announced 2 days prior. They're announced by email, and they're also announced in the announcement channel. Everyone is alerted, but they're usually announced 1 day before the session. It's fluid. Be flexible. Whatever it is, the replays are always available. They're often on Thursdays. Last week was on Tuesday, and then the 2 before that were on Friday. So, and then, for a while, they were all on Tuesday. Boom, 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 boom. Yes, Kenneth. What else are we looking at today? I feel like I'm in the middle of the ocean. Vijan, I don't know what that means if you're overwhelmed. If I was in the middle of the ocean, I would feel very overwhelmed. I would just go back and watch the beginning of this video, and I would focus on the first thing that I pointed out, right? Whether or not the first thing is you decide that you want to watch all the modules, or the first thing that you do is say, I'm going to start over here with start here and watch these first 3 videos, maybe even 4, and then you're going to have an idea of what you're looking to accomplish. Next thing you need to know is then go through all of the modules and then focus in on this one where it says how to draw support and resistance. This will be renamed and fixed up, but this is the blueprint you want to follow where it talks about, what you need to do to progress. And this is like starting the course right over here. This is starting the course. All right. How long we been online over here? Been online a little over an hour. We're going to call it a session over here. We're going to call it a good one. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I never know how they're received, and I just want to add and create value. Everyone, have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Thanks for sharing in this session. Thanks each and every one for all you offer to this community. Thank you for being such a special part of this unique thing that is occurring that we get to share in. I can't wait to see what CTM is 4 years from now. And I hope that a lot of us are just simply continuing to thrive. Everyone, have a beautiful day. I will talk to you soon. Let's go out with some beautiful music. There is nothing easy about the markets, but I do not think it gets easier than conquering the markets community training program. I do not think that anyone else has a chance outside of it. Personally, you could take someone who's been trying to be successful in the markets for 15 years. They could join this program, and I believe they're going to turn it around and see that constant profitability. Or someone like Brad with no experience at all. A year later, look what he's doing. Life-changing. It is life-changing. Thanks, everyone. Michelle, I have an important meeting scheduled. I can't do the 3 birds today, but they're in my heart. They are in my heart, and next time, we're going to be sure we have that extra time to get it. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much. I think we have 4 sessions in a row. This training session might be the 5th, but wow, we just keep going at it, stronger and stronger, doing what we do to keep on the right side of the most important trade that matters, to keep on the right side of the markets, clearer and stronger than anyone else. Keith, lots of love, my brother. Thank you for your presence among us. You are a shining light. Each and every one of you, thank you for being here. There you go, Lucky. Maybe. But would I accept? I wouldn't. Would I accept a Real Vision interview at this point in time? I don't think so. That's right, Mark. This is great focus right here, Mark. That's true. We need to focus more on when I mentioned those $20,000 jumps of price happening, right? That might have triggered that thought. But we need to. That's a great one, and bring that up again, Mark. Because as we get closer, that's really important that we focus in on that. That's right, Ed. This is so important right there. Everyone, beginners, advanced, intermediate, this is the place. This is the place. Jay, welcome. Everyone, may God bless you. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon.